Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Linn County State of the City for Cedar Rapids. It's the first ever virtual event. The League started doing the State of the City for Cedar Rapids back in 1983, and it usually was held at a downtown Rotary meeting. So this is the 38th annual State of the City for Cedar Rapids. The League of Women Voters, of which I am a member, my name is Amy Reesner, envisions a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. And the League promotes that mission and vision through events like this, as well as legislative and candidate forums. If you'd like to learn more about the League of Women Voters, go to www.lwvlinncounty.org. One note of highlight for 2020, and we all need one, the League nationally celebrated its 100th birthday, and the League of Women Voters of Linn County commemorated that with a 17-foot steel sculpture. It's called Forge, Stand, Rise, and it's outside the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art. It was created by Mount Vernon artist Dale Merrill. Check it out. Thanks to this event's sponsors. And now, let's all welcome Mayor Brad Hart to share the state of the city of Cedar Rapids.
How do you recap a year dominated by unimaginable hardship? Well, as your mayor, I get to tell you about the resilience of a great city, a city that has overcome extreme hardship before and has thrived in spite of it. And we're in the process of doing that yet again. Each year at this time, I get to talk to you about all that has happened and what's planned for our city. As with everything else in these times of a pandemic, this year's State of the City address looks different, but my optimism and resolve remain the same. This year's live message from me is brief, but the newly created State of the City page on the city's website provides the details I usually share with you in person. I wish I could share with you all the remarkable work this city did in 2020, but I strongly encourage you to go to that site as soon as you finish watching my message. I know you'll share in my pride about all that has happened in Cedar Rapids in the last year. And be sure to review our current list of national rankings with 11 new 2020 rankings. Those new rankings include the 14th best run city in America, the second most recession-resistant city in America, a mini megacity to watch based on all our commercial construction, and our perfect score of 100 on the Municipal Equality Index. In March 2020, shortly after last year's State of the City address, our city and the entire country added some new terms to our daily vocabulary. Words like quarantine, social distancing, and coronavirus became a regular part of our conversations. To respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, many began working differently, including our city employees. Our transit service suspended fare collection, had riders enter from the back door, and limited the number of riders. Departments that could began offering services to residents over the phone, by email, and online instead of in person. Essential services like police, fire, public works, and utility employees made changes to their shift schedules and work processes to ensure they could continue to serve residents while keeping themselves and others safe. Our information technology team quickly developed solutions to allow council meetings to take place online, as well as other critical meetings and daily interactions. And of course, masks became a routine part of our daily life to protect us from unknowingly spreading the virus to others. I issued a mask mandate in early September based on the strong advice of our local medical community. As soon as they advise masks are no longer needed, the mandate will end. Thank you to all of you who wore masks to protect others. I am extremely proud of how the city pivoted to provide services to our residents during the past year as we all navigated changes due to the pandemic. But as we all know, the pandemic wasn't our only challenge of 2020. On August 10th, we learned the word derecho and of the destruction such a storm can bring with it. In a matter of minutes, trees were ripped out of the ground, roofs were lifted off homes, and power and communication were wiped out across the entire city. Businesses and residents already struggling with the pandemic faced previously unthinkable devastation. And once again, city employees and community members stepped up to meet the challenge. Roads were cleared quickly, and emergency responders fielded record numbers of calls for help, working tirelessly to do so. Emergency shelters, neighborhood resource centers, and food distribution sites were established. The city knew we would need to help residents with cleanup and committed to hauling public and private tree debris and non-organic storm debris. This has amounted to more than 3 million cubic yards of tree debris collected so far. We successfully lobbied for individual assistance in the Presidential Disaster Declaration that resulted in more than $30 million in grants and low-interest long-term loans for Cedar Rapidians. In addition, we use CDBG funds to provide temporary housing, meals prepared by local restaurants, and money to help residents pay their utilities and their rent to avoid evictions. While we've made huge strides in our recovery efforts, we know there's more to do. Our efforts to pick up debris will continue through the winter, and we're committed to working into the spring months to remove additional debris to help prepare our community for a season of replanting and renewal. So many citizens gave back in remarkable ways. It's impossible to name them all, but I do want to recognize and thank people like Willie Ray Farley, Raymond Seidel, Bridget and Javante Robinson, Pat Baird, Steve Shriver, and so many others. Despite the pandemic and derecho, so much positive progress occurred in 2020 that is worth celebrating. We continue to make progress on our flood protection and are committed to finding additional funding sources to help pay for that system. Economic development is strong, evidenced by $343 million in new building permits that brings our 3-year total to more than $1 billion. Our city budget remains balanced with appropriate reserves. We still managed to repair or replace 10 miles of our streets and completed 25 projects with our Paving for Progress funds. We are directly addressing equity issues sparked by George Floyd's and others' deaths, and will, as part of that effort, name citizens to our newly created Citizen Review Board this year. Affordable housing remains a top priority. Connect CR is an exciting project that will help us develop even more ways to use and enjoy our river, with ideas from a recently completed study of river recreation possibilities. We adopted the framework and timeline for a community climate action plan that is now underway. I encourage you to learn more about the vast number of newly created and future city projects and initiatives on the State of the City website. On that site, you will find great information about improvements and programs related to economic development, housing, building services, community, parks and recreation, public safety, disaster support and recovery, paving for progress, the flood control system, IT, utilities, and additional new initiatives. New initiatives include a small business recovery effort and work with the National Network for Safe Communities to bring GVI, Group Violence Intervention. It's an evidence-based approach to address group violence. We're bringing that to Cedar Rapids. Relief Cedar Rapids will work with Trees Forever to engage renowned urban planner Jeff Speck to create a long-term plan for reforestation of our community with immediate urgency, providing us opportunities to plant trees today and for years to come in all neighborhoods, on our streets, and in our parks. I want to acknowledge and thank all the hardworking city employees, utility workers, healthcare workers, first responders, store employees, residents, and volunteers who stepped up over the last year in so many ways, large and small. In the midst of darkness, your light helped us find our way out of the dark. I will close by thanking our city manager, Jeff Pomerantz, the city director team, all city employees, and my fellow council members, Ann Poe, Scott Olson, Scott Overland, Dale Todd, Ashley Van Orney, Pat Loeffler, Tyler Olson, and Marty Hager, for your hard work and your dedication to serve our citizens. While the past year has been overwhelming and life-changing in so many ways, it has also reinforced the resilient nature of the people of Cedar Rapids. This city may know hardship, but its leaders and citizens are determined to make this community and the lives of all residents better than before. 2020 showed us we can do so much when we work together and we care for each other. Remember, sticks in a bundle cannot be broken. Finally, the energy compassion, and can-do spirit so often on display in 2020 will provide us with much to celebrate in 2021 and in future years. And soon, we'll be able to celebrate together again. Thank you.